Welcome to Hawk Talks. It's our Alumni Career Spotlights, hosted by the Career Development Center and Alumni Relations. My name is Davir Daniels, and I'm a clinical mental health student at Villanova. I just happened to sneak into SJU to do some grad interning in the Career Development Center, and I'm just be doing some moderating today. Throughout this series, we've invited alumni to come back and join us for conversations just about their careers, in order to give you insight into different career paths, industries, and to get advice on how to enter these fields. So again, these sessions will be recorded, and we are so excited to have our guest today, Jackie, to come and join us and to help us out. So just to read a little bit about Jackie, she's the VP of Fashion within the Style Division at Condé Nast. She is responsible for generating advertising revenue via multi-platforms for brands such as Vogue, GQ, Vanity Fair, Allure, and Architectural Digest. She works with both international and American fashion brands such as Burberry, Coach, UGG, Michael Kors, American Eagle, and Stuart Weitzman, to name a few. Prior to her current role, Jackie has held positions at Hearst Corporation, Time Inc., Meredith Corporation, and Martha Stewart Living Omnimedia. Now, she graduated from SJU in 2006 with a degree in marketing, and she currently lives in New York City with her husband and two boys. Jackie, we are so excited to have you.
Thank you.
And welcome back. So,
Thank you.
yeah, so we're just going to get into some questions.
Great.
And, students, as this is going on, feel free to drop any questions that you have down in the chat box. We'll do a Q&A session at the end. But to start, Jackie, could you just take some time to describe within your current role the core responsibilities and just like what a typical day or week look like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So welcome everybody, excited to be here. So as Davier said, I am the VP of Fashion within the Style Division at Condé Nast. That is a mouthful. So I am responsible for generating revenue cross-platform. So at Condé Nast, we have print. Obviously, we have all the magazines that everyone knows very well. Mm-hmm. We have, of course, our websites. We have our social handles. We do events, we have tent poles. So I'm responsible for generating revenue for all of the different brands within Condé Nast. Again, those are Vogue, GQ, Vanity Fair, Allure, Glamour. So I generate revenue for all of those brands across all the different platforms. And again, I work with international fashion clients as well as American fashion clients. So typically, every day is very different, but I do have an account list, which are some of the clients that, we had listed in my bio that I work with on a daily basis. So every day again is different, but I'm on the phone or on Zooms, obviously now with all of these different clients, just updating them on what is new and going on at Condé Nast, what we're currently working on, and then also just to hear from them on their side to hear, what collections they're launching, or if they're doing anything for Fashion Week, what their marketing and advertising budget's looking like, what their media mix looks like. So I'm sure you guys all know, but gone are the days of print, really. Like, we still love magazines, and obviously we still produce magazines, but we're living in such a digital-led world right now that the conversation has changed. So it is interesting that, I do get to work on all the different platforms, and, it's a conversation is always evolving, and it's really nice getting to work with clients on their strategies for the year and their marketing paths.
Yeah, for sure. And the first thing that stands out to me is, I don't think a smile left your face as you started talking about right? One thing I always like to talk to people is like, what do you go to bed dreaming about, right? When you're thinking of career-wise, what do you go to bed dreaming about? So my question for you is like, when did you know that this was the career path that you wanted to pursue, and what kind of led you to that decision?
Great question. And I'm laughing because it is true. Like, even if I'm in a meeting and a client's telling me like, oh, we're not spending $300,000 with you,
Yeah.
you're actually not getting anything. I still have a smile on my face. So I think that
Right.
makes them a good salesperson. So I have
Right.
a good poker face, but I am really happy.
Yeah.
So I obviously graduated a really long time ago, but I've always been into fashion and clothes, and I loved magazines. Again, magazines was really like the only source of content I would consume.
Yeah.
We didn't have Facebook, we didn't have TikTok, we didn't have Instagram, you know, when I was in high school and even in college. So I loved magazines, and I obviously majored in business, in marketing. So I was in the business school. And I remember someone was just, I feel like it was definitely, I think it was in Mr. Allen's class. What is his first name? Tim Allen, maybe? No. It was in Mr. Allen's class. And I feel like we had somebody from New York come in and speak to us about publishing. And it just like a light went off, and I was like, I need to do this. I need to go into this. And I remember just like checking every masthead of the magazine and their website, because they did have websites. And I would just check and see like who the HR contact was. And I would send my resume, and it kind of took off from there. So
yeah, that is awesome. So tell me this, like, so what is the typical career path for an entry-level associate within your organization?
Yeah, so it's interesting. So my current assistant slash associate, we don't really call them assistants anymore, but she recently just left, and she got promoted within the company, which is great. So she was my associate, as well as two other sales executives for 2 years, which is kind of like the standard commitment when you become an associate within like a publishing house and media house, like a Condé Nast. So it was interesting. Now that she's gone, we're looking for a replacement. And it was interesting, like sitting down and kind of looking at the job description and looking at what is necessary for this job. And the nice thing is I met with a ton of different, you know, people that had just graduated or have been out of school for a year or two, and everyone had a different path.
Yeah.
But I think that's the nice thing about having a career and starting a career at a media company like a Condé Nast, because you can kind of be, you know, you could be an English major, you could be a business major, you could be a fine arts major. We interviewed somebody where, you know, they didn't have a job currently, but they love fashion. So they were they were a stylist on the side.
Yeah.
Even though I work on the business side, there still has to be like a love for fashion and appreciation for clothing and just like these mega brands. So the nice thing is you really can have any type of career path, I guess. Land yourself here. And then the nice thing is there really is no direct path. I started out as an assistant at a magazine at Hearst right after college. I was there for 2 years as an assistant. I knew I wanted to go into sales. I love people. I love talking to people. So that was a clear path for me. But my associate really wants to focus in on digital. So she went the digital route, where she's doing that. Another associate that we had loved events. He is now at the events department within Condé Nast. So the nice thing is there's not one clear direct path. I think if you're just interested and eager to learn and always have a smile on your face, like you could land a job here and then you can go many different ways.
Yeah. And the thing that's just sticking out is, you know, nobody's path is the same.
Exactly.
Now, for me, I'm somebody who I like to talk to as many people as possible to see, okay, what did you do and what can I take from you? And then what can I take from this person? But I know there are people out there that's like, no, I need to see a very direct path to where I want to go. So like, what do you say to those kind of people who that answer may provide some anxiety for them? It's like, well, there's no career path, so what the heck do I do?
Right.
Like, what would you say to that?
Yeah, you know, I think just in anything in life and in business, you just have to be open. You know, I was kind of just thinking about my path and even, you know, my past positions that I've held and past employers that I've worked for. I really truly believe if you are, you know, just open and honest and inquisitive and helpful, you could always have in the back of your mind where you want to go, and you could
Right.
obviously have your path. And if you already know where your path is and what you want to do, that's amazing. But
Yeah.
for those people that don't, I think that's still okay. But at an entry level job, don't be intimidated. Like, you have a great education, be
Yeah.
confident, walk in the door early.
Yeah.
Always ask people for help. A thank you note goes a really long way, like in a handwritten thank you note. I know that might be very like old age, but it goes a long way. I just think if you're open to learning and asking questions, you're going to get so much knowledge. And even if you do have a correct path, you might learn something along the way, or you might meet someone along the way that might change your mind. And that's okay. That's a good thing. I don't know if everybody, graduated college and knew exactly what they wanted to do. I think that's actually quite rare that people actually know exactly what they want to do. But
Yeah.
if you do land somewhere where you are able to work alongside a lot of different people that are even at different levels. I mean, I think that's the great thing is our associates that we work with, they're involved in meetings with my boss.
Yeah.
And that's huge exposure, and my boss knows their name. So, I think just if you're open and ask a lot of questions and eager to help, like, you will be fine.
For sure. Yeah. And even as I'm hearing about your experiences, I'm hearing a lot of entrepreneurship, in tandem with, being a business and marketing major. So I'm wondering, as an entrepreneur, what post-grad experiences do you think best prepare someone for starting their own business or even functioning in what you're doing?
Yeah, it's so funny. I am very much not an entrepreneur, but my sister, who did also graduate from St. Joe's, she
Yeah.
is very much an entrepreneur. So
Yeah.
I like any advice I get from her
Yeah.
like very, honestly. She started her own wedding planning business, and
Oh.
it's so different than like my career path. I think, I've obviously worked for big corporations throughout my career. She is as well. She works for a big media company as well, but she had a passion in event planning and she started her own business.
Wow.
But I do think, like, if you are a self-starter and a go-getter, then you can start your own business. I think nowadays it's a lot easier. I feel like years ago, even when I graduated, you kind of were raised like, this is what you're going to do. You're going to graduate, you're going to get a job, you're going to stay in your job. And now I just think these young adults are so ambitious, so much more than I was, so ambitious, so inspiring and enthusiastic and confident, so much more confident than I definitely was. And those are all the tools that you need to be a successful entrepreneur. So you guys have it already.
Yeah, absolutely. The next question I want to ask is, what do you enjoy the most about your profession? And what is something that you wish you could change?
So I think what I love most, so for the last year, I've been in a sales role. I've always been in sales, but for the last year, I've had my own account list. Prior to that, still at Condé Nast, I was in management, which was really like my first time being in management. And I loved it. It was definitely the hardest I have worked in my career, working alongside some of the smartest men and women in the industry. And it was huge. It was such an amazing and pivotal point in my career. Now I'm a salesperson. So I think, to be honest, as much as I loved being in management, I really missed that one-on-one connection with my clients. I mean, when you're in management where I sit now, there's a lot of internal meetings, a lot of documents and tracking of numbers, which is great and very necessary, but I'm a people person. I need to talk to people. I need to entertain my clients. I need to be out with my clients. I need to provide solutions for my clients. And I was really missing that. So for the last year, I think that's just been the greatest joy, is kind of working alongside the best brands in the business and working with really incredible brands as clients, and just working together to build out smart strategies for clients and aligning them with the brands that sit within Condé Nast. So I think that's been really great. I think also like the power of a face-to-face meeting, even on Zoom. I know nobody's really seeing many people in person these days, but the power of a connection. Like I have gotten so much business from my clients because they know me, they trust me. There's like a past history and relationship there. And I love that, just seeing things like from start to finish, like seeing a quick coffee Zoom date turn into, you know, a $400,000 sale, you know, with Vogue. So that I love, just seeing that manifest. What would I change? I don't really know. It seems crazy. There's a lot of internal, when you work with a big company, there's a lot of people above you and there's a lot of layers of management. And I feel like we're always filling out this document, fill out that document. There's a lot of internal stuff that goes on that sometimes is, you know, I can't sell and you need me to bring in the money. So what's more important?
Yeah, I get that. I have a counseling background.
Okay.
And the thing that I would change is all the admin note taking. It's like, this is not why I want to be a counselor.
Exactly. And unfortunately, guys, whatever path you go, you're probably going to do a lot of this admin nonsense, but it's necessary.
Very necessary. Very necessary.
Yeah.
Kind of going off of that. So like, I'm wondering if anything has surprised you about your career. So like, what has surprised you the most?
Yeah. I just think, well, first off, there are so many platforms that are out there nowadays that I'm very surprised with, one, how quickly we can adapt and get out of our own ways and learn. I mean, I'm going to date myself, but literally when I graduated college, there was only a magazine to sell. Like I was not selling a website, a digital website. I was not selling social media. So to go from just a single platform salesperson to now I could literally sell you anything on TikTok. I could sell you something on Facebook, on Instagram. I could sell you an event. Like, I think that's what's so surprising, is that my role as a salesperson has been consistent through my entire career, but all of the platforms and knowledge that I have, I think that's just so surprising that like so many things are still coming out, and I'm surprised with how much I'm still learning. I mean, I think that's also why I wouldn't change much about my job, because no day is the same, and there's always something new to sell or something new to do. And I also think it's just the brands that I work with. I mean, a lover of fashion and getting to work for Vogue is pretty incredible. And I also just think the evolution of these brands, again, they also had to evolve and change and lean into all these different platforms. So years ago, when they were just set to produce a magazine, now they need to produce video content, social content, TikToks. Like, there are so many different ways. So I think that's kind of the most surprising thing, is that we're just constantly evolving and there are new things to kind of go out in the marketplace with.
Yeah. And, you know, I want to kind of circle back to something you said earlier that stood out about the associate that you had, having the opportunity to then, you know, advance and kind of this idea of like, we're a family, right? So we take care of our own, you know, thing. And with that, I think comes a lot. So I'm wondering, like, what are the ways that you or your organization demonstrate a commitment to things like diversity, equity, inclusion? Because as you know, I mean, family, that's different people, that's different backgrounds, that's different experiences. So I'm wondering, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Condé Nast, I would say right after the death of George Floyd, listen, I think a lot of companies, not just Condé Nast, but all of our clients had to have very real conversations about who's represented in their ad campaigns, who's represented in our magazines, in our videos. We all really had to take like a deep look inside And I mean, I'm not saying anything that it wasn't in the paper, like Condé Nast very much was not as inclusive as it should have been. And listen, fashion typically not the most inclusive. I mean, I think we've definitely grown. We're definitely seeing more diverse backgrounds on the runways, on covers of magazines, in our videos, in big fashion campaigns. I mean, even, you know, not just people of color or different, you know, sizes, but even disabilities. Gucci, they're not my client, but Gucci, Gucci Beauty, they casted a girl with Down syndrome as their spokeswoman. Like, how incredible is that? So, you know, everyone really had, that was a very interesting time, and everybody really needed to like sit down, and we had to have like really honest conversations. But I will say, it's definitely helped. Like, I had to have really intimate conversations with some of my clients, because if they weren't showing a diverse background, then we wouldn't really feel comfortable taking their ad dollars and putting them all over our sites. Also, Condé Nast, what they've been doing is we have these DEI quarterly trainings. So we do have a head of diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is a new position that Condé Nast, you know, appointed someone as, and they speak at all of our global meetings. So they definitely like keep us very well in the know on what is going on, and making sure that we are doing all the right things to have a very diverse and inclusive company, and that we stand for the right things. And yeah, so then we do these quarterly like seminars, let's say, which again, it keeps the conversation going, and it is so important. And I think that is also an evolving effort that we just have to keep moving forward with, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for sharing. I'd like to shift gears a little bit to focus on actions that students can take. And again, so to everybody here, if you got some questions, throw them in the chat. But I'm going to ask you about internships in a moment. But for now, what are 2 or 3 experiences you would suggest for students to engage in while in college to help them prepare for entering this field after graduation?
Yeah. So I don't know if they do this, but any public speaking opportunity, lean in. It's very uncomfortable, and I still get nervous talking in front of people, but it is so critical and so necessary. Regardless of where you're going in your career, you need to be able to walk into a room or log on to a Zoom and present yourself in a confident way that just holds the attention of whomever you're speaking to. So I did obviously major in marketing, and I took policy. Do they still call it policy? Maybe.
That's a great question. Maybe.
Okay. No, guy, so you wouldn't know. But policy, I remember like that class was so hard, but it taught me everything I needed to know. And at the end of it, you had to present your business plan to the rest of your student body. And I remember I was terrified. But those types of, you know, classes or, you know, extracurriculars that you could do, I think those really help and go a long way. And I think also, I mean, I'm thinking back to college, and I was a red shirt, so I was an orientation leader. Again, I had to talk in front of a lot of people. I kind of needed to be a guide for incoming students. I think that just, you know, kind of gives you nice foundation and grounding for being able to kind of talk to anybody. You know, I would be paired with somebody, you know, a new freshman that was so shy. And I like, it would be my goal to try to get that person to feel comfortable and confident by the end of the weekend, knowing that they made a great decision to go to SJU. So I think just putting yourself in a situation where you're around people, you're talking to all different types of people, you're learning from people, get out of your normal box, meet with other people, other, races, other ethnicities. Like, the more you can learn from other people, it's only going to help you grow in your career, and even in life, not just your career, just your life.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you were an orientation leader, so was I. Now,
I knew
I
it.
always say there are two kinds of orientation leaders.
Okay.
The one who actually gets up at 8 a.m. to meet everyone for breakfast, and the one who just waits till the first actual thing scheduled.
Event. Yeah.
I'm wondering which one are you?
I was definitely the early to rise. And the fact that I have two children now,
Yeah,
I am like at the 6 a.m. breakfast
yeah.
buffet,
Oh, yeah.
not even the 8 a.m.
Well,
We're up very early in the Stockel household. So yeah, I'm the early riser. Now I
gotcha,
actually
gotcha.
wish I could be the late one, but I cannot.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. That time has passed.
That time has passed.
Um, but yeah, you kind of touched on this a little bit, but I wanted to ask, how did your SJU education impact how you work, and the career decisions you made to date?
Yeah. So I'm going to be honest, I was not the best student,
Mm,
like at all.
mm,
So, I don't want to say that grades don't matter because I'm
sure.
definitely not saying that. But for someone who definitely did not get good grades,
Mhm.
I knew I had other things that
Yeah,
I can really contribute and do a great job for an employer.
yeah,
So I just think, when you're looking for a job or even in life, try not to sweat the small stuff. Like you have to be able to kind of roll with the punches. You need to have a plan and you need to be, confident in where you want to go. But, I definitely was not a good student. I remember all of my friends when we had our resumes and we were applying to jobs, a
mhm,
lot of them would put their GPA on their resume. My GPA
yeah,
never went on my resume ever. But I
yeah,
will say that never deterred me from getting a job. Anywhere
yeah,
I applied, I got a job. And I think it's because SJU gave me the tools to feel confident, to
yeah,
feel comfortable, and to know that if someone was going to hire me, I was
mhm,
going to give it my all,
yeah,
work my butt off,
yeah,
and be there to lead the company or whatever role I was doing forward. And
yeah,
I think you guys should just keep that in mind because it is important. You don't need to be the brightest star. You
yeah,
don't need to be the best grades, but if you have one or two really awesome, strong qualities that can help you in business or somebody else in business, like
yeah,
that's going to stand out a lot more than that 4.0 GPA.
yeah.
That's what I think.
That's great insight.
Yeah.
Um, Now, what types of internships should students try to secure to prepare for a role like yours?
So what were my internships? Let's think. Oh, I worked at a
Mhm,
marketing firm.
mhm,
Let's think about this. I was at a marketing firm in New Jersey. That's where I'm from. I grew up
okay,
in northern New Jersey. So it was a marketing firm, but their biggest client was Mercedes Benz.
hmm,
So again, I knew I was a marketing major, but I just always knew like I needed to be in sales. Like
yeah,
even now I have a marketing counterpart and we are like the yin and the yang.
yeah,
We'll be on a phone with a client and the client will be saying, okay, these are our KPIs for the spring. This is what we're doing. And I'll sit there and I'll take it all in. And she's already like, okay, this is what we need to present to them. These are the
right,
opportunities. These are the brands. So, you know, my brain is there, but not fully. I'm the one that's going to
mhm,
like close the deal. And
sure,
all you marketing, really creative guys, like lean in there because those jobs are so necessary. But
yeah,
so I worked with this marketing firm. Their biggest client was Mercedes Benz.
mhm,
And this marketing firm, they would put on all the Mercedes Benz sponsored golf tournaments
mhm,
around the US.
yeah,
So I was doing just very administrative work. I remember I was like managing the RSVPs for the
mhm,
golf tournament. So I wasn't really even using my major or doing
mhm,
anything in the realm of sales. It was all admin work. But I think if you just target, like, think about brands that you like, think about companies that you follow. I think that's just a great way to kind of start your search is think about your habits, think about what you like, what you like to do, what you enjoy doing. Look on their websites, follow them on social. I'm sure you guys are already doing that anyway, but
yeah,
I think now there's just so many more resources for all of you candidates out there to just know so much more about these companies that you're interested in, so that when you go to these interviews, you're totally prepared. But I think any internship in like, a marketing business world is great. A PR firm, even an event firm, like you'll learn so much. And again, it's the people that you meet along the way that will really help kind of build your next move.
Yeah. And the two main things I'm hearing is networking and transferable skills, right? So like what will you be gaining now that's going to end up helping you later down the road? Awesome.
Yeah.
So as we come to a close, I got two final questions for you, Jackie.
Okay.
So one, what is something that you wish someone told you while you were in school?
I'm still just going back to don't sweat the small stuff. I know in every point in everyone's life, you think like, this is the biggest moment and how am I going to get through this? And I'm not the best that I can be if you're having any self-doubt. And you just really need to know that, this time, if you're having a tough time, it will pass, but also like, don't sweat the small stuff. Like, it's all going to be okay. Life happens. But again, I think, you guys are at an incredible university. You have a great foundation. You have so many more tools than I had coming out of college. And I also just think everybody's a lot more confident these days, which I think goes a long way. And I think, just presenting yourself in a positive way. You all will be fine, I promise. And I also will say, thinking about it now, I graduated in 2006, which, in 2008, that was when like the financial world collapsed. And I remember everyone always said, oh my God, thank God we're not graduating in 2008. There were no jobs. I will say there are jobs. Like we just went through a pandemic and, last year was a bad year. Last year, a lot of companies and clients had to lay people off, had to minimize their labor, employees. But now there's like a rebirth, there's a resurgence, and, people are spending and people are shopping, and there's definitely a need for more employees and companies. So I think you guys are coming out at a good time.
And then this second question, I'm wondering if it's the same or something different, but what is a piece of advice you would give to students who are interested in this path?
What would I give them? I think, it's kind of like, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I think like, get out there, try everything. No job is too big or too little. Be patient. I think that's another big thing. You have to be patient. I know the world that we're living in, we're used to a very fast pace, getting things that we want really quickly. I'll order something online and if it takes more than 3 days to get to me, I'm like really angry because things usually get here real fast. So be patient. It is a process, but appreciate the process. It is an exciting time. It's kind of the next chapter. Be willing to just learn a lot, ask questions, ask how you can help, how you can do better, have open conversations and, with your colleagues. And, I think that was kind of, that's it.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely get the patience thing. I put something in the microwave and I stand by the microwave the whole time. And I'm like upset that it's not moving quicker. I'm like, the microwave at the same time.
I get
But just this idea of, when we're talking about our journeys, I don't really know if it's the destination that's the best part. Like, I think it may be the path that we're able to eventually look back on and kind of do what you're doing and sharing that with others. So, so Jackie, we just want to say thank you so much. We really appreciate it. I don't know if there were any, this would be the Q&A session. Erin, are there any questions down there that we have for Jackie?
I don't see any questions in the chat yet.
Okay. Wait, I have one that was directly sent to me.
Oh, good.
So what is the best way to apply for a job with Condé Nast? Would you recommend reaching out to people directly and applying on the website, or are there other ways to begin networking with people like yourself in the industry?
Yeah, so I would definitely check on Condé Nast's website first, definitely see what is out there and what's available. And then I can even drop my contact info in the
Awesome.
chat.
Awesome. Yeah.
I'm happy to help anybody I can. Something that I wanted to note that I didn't get the chance to, I have had the great fortune of anyone that I have worked for has truly been like a cheerleader for me and a big supporter. And that makes a really big difference. Like that just makes you feel good and confident in yourself and knowing that somebody does have your back. So if there is anybody that I can help out there, I would be more than happy to, because I've had such great fortune of that. If I can pay it forward, I would be more than happy to. So let me drop my email in here. And then, yeah, I would suggest just checking out the website first. And then, yeah, you could reach out to me and we could have a Zoom chat, whatever. I'm happy to help.
Yeah, absolutely. That is awesome. Well, listen, that was the only one I had in here, Erin. Did you have?
Yes, I do have one more.
Okay.
What are some print and digital materials or research that you would suggest students who are interested in working in the industry look at before interviewing or applying?
Great question. So again, go to your local newsstand. I'm certain they still exist. I live in the city. They're definitely still up and running. So go pick out a magazine. Pick out, I obviously am such a fashion buff, so I'm a big Vogue reader and, Vanity Fair. I'll pick up GQ sometimes, even though my husband's not that fashionable, but that's okay. But pick up any old magazine and just flip through it. Look at the different ads. You could kind of learn a lot just by flipping through a magazine and see what brands are in there and what they're supporting. And then digitally, I would look everywhere. At our brands. The September issue of Vogue is our biggest moment of the year. Everyone knows about it. Even if you're not a fashion person, you know that the September issue of Vogue is the biggest moment. And it's no longer just the issue. It's truly like we have explored content across platforms. So when the September issue dropped, when it hit newsstands, we then rolled out all these different videos, and we created, the editors of Vogue created all these beautiful custom content videos that lived on social, that lived on our O&O, so on like Vogue.com. I would just look at all the different brands' websites and check out all the different video content that they're doing. Check that out on the website and then on the different social handles and platforms as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. Was that the last one, Erin?
Yes, that's the last one that I saw.
Cool.
If anybody else has any other last minute questions, feel free to unmute yourself or drop it in the chat. I do know that there were a few students who were unable to attend the session. So if it's all right with you, Jackie, I will share your email with them.
Of course. Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. Well, awesome. Jackie, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
amazing chatting
fun.
with you.
Yeah, this was super fun. I know everyone is grateful that you're able to come out. So again, to the students, this was recorded. So in about a week, it'll be on our YouTube page. So yeah, thank everybody for attending.
Thank you.
And I guess we'll see you next time.
See you soon.
All right. Have a great day.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.